Welcome back to Next Gen Console Watch, our show covering the latest gaming hardware. I'm Damon Hatfield, and as always, I'm joined by Ryan McCaffrey, host of Podcast Unlocked, and Max Scoville, host of Podcast Beyond. And I wish we had better news to discuss this week, but Xbox has really done a number on its Game Pass service, something we used to easily call the best deal in gaming, but I think those days are probably over. Xbox has announced a significant price increase for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which comes just over a year after the last increase. So July 2024, Microsoft raised the price of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate from $17 a month to $20 here in the US. That was about an 18% increase. Now, just 14 months later, Microsoft has once again hiked the price of Ultimate from $20 to $30 a month. That's an increase of 50% here in the US, or an extra $120 per year. In the UK, the jump is 53%. PC Game Pass, which will continue to add Microsoft games day one, including Call of Duty, has had its price increased by more than a third. In the US, PC Game Pass is now $16.50, up from $12 a month. So the updated pricing went into effect October 1st for new subscribers, and it'll be November 4th for current subscribers. Xbox is trying to justify the increase by adding more day one games. Ultimate subscribers now get over 75 day one releases a year, Microsoft says. And they'll throw in Fortnite Crew and Ubisoft Plus Classics. Fortnite Crew is regularly $12 a month here in the US. There are also upgrades to Xbox Cloud Gaming streaming quality. So, Ryan, I need to bring you in here. You wrote an op-ed on this earlier this week. Xbox keeps raising the price of the console that no one is buying. It's got a $1,000 handheld coming out this month, and it just skewered the one reason that there was to own an Xbox. I have to assume they're making these decisions believing they will ultimately be good for their business, but I don't see it.
It's really hard to see from where we sit. You're absolutely right. Like, I think that Game Pass went from an automatic, like, yep, $20 a month. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to pay that every month. I'm going to just have that service. It'll be awesome to just grab day one stuff anytime it drops. But going so far, so fast to leap straight from 20 to 30. And as you noted, as you said, Damon, going from 17 to 30 in the span of just over a year, it's just like you get whiplash. Your wallet certainly gets whiplash at that. And $30 a month, it's not that, like, in a vacuum, is it still a good value proposition? Probably. I mean, it's now six $60 games per year. But then again, Microsoft has already pushed to 70 on everything. So, okay, it's five $70 games a year. They're trying to push to 80, and they will. They announced they were going to do that with The Outer Worlds 2. The community gave them a big middle finger, and they backed down. At least for The Outer Worlds 2, they're probably not going to back down on Gears of War E-Day next year, Fable next year, Forza Horizon 6 next year, etc. So 80 per month is coming. So the point is, it's still, you really have to use the service a lot to get that $30 a month value out of it. And people watching this show probably are the people that do get a lot of value out of it. So they might continue to pay it begrudgingly through gritted teeth. But then again, my social feeds were filled with people canceling, saying they're going to cancel, showing the screenshot of them canceling. I mean, the in a vacuum thing is just not reality. Like, whether you want to argue that Game Pass is or isn't, Game Pass Ultimate is or isn't worth $30 a month, you just can't have that argument without the real world context of everything else going up. There are larger macroeconomic conditions we could get into a whole thing about, but I think at the end of the day, it's Microsoft making the decision to do this, to raise these prices this far and this quickly. Does Sony doesn't offer anything that's quite the same, right? Their service doesn't offer day one first party published games. So we don't have any sort of direct comparison. This month alone, Xbox has not one, not two, but 3 really exciting games that 2 of them for sure seem like they're really going to be pretty good because I've played them and they're great so far. And that's Ninja Gaiden 4 and The Outer Worlds 2. And then they've got Keeper coming out this month from Double Fine. We're not far removed, Damon, from being happy to get 3 promising first-party Xbox games in an entire year, let alone in a single month. So they are banking on, I guess, their first party output being good enough and consistently good enough that people are not going to want to cancel or downgrade their subscription. And I know we can talk about this in a minute, but I think the downgrade option might actually be a pretty good one for a lot of people. Not everybody, but for a lot of people.
Yeah, so at the new price, $30 a month, $360 a year. So you know what that means. Xbox 360 is back, everybody. Max, PS Plus, although it's not apples to apples, the PS Plus premium is $160 a year. So Game Pass Ultimate is more than double PS Plus premium. What's your read on this situation?
I mean, I'm going to talk about this as, not just the PlayStation guy, but like I love Game Pass. Like I had a wonderful time with it. I think it was the best deal in gaming for a cool minute, but like a 50% increase in price is kind of wacky. And, again, we keep saying like, oh, it's, best value, but value is relative. And I just keep thinking about how, yes, if you're paying for Ubisoft Classics already and you're playing for Fortnite Crew and, you're still on board with, day one games, yeah, I guess that's a good deal, but that just feels like such a threading the needle of like demographics right there. I feel like the people who are playing Fortnite are playing Fortnite, and the people who are interested in Ubisoft's back catalog, they're probably getting that somewhere else. And then, you tack on the addition of, the day one games, which again are awesome. But at $30 a month, again, it comes down to how much time do you even have to play these games? And it's, it's, variety is the spice of life. It's nice to have options, but at the same time, you reach this point of just sort of choice paralysis. And the thing I'm sort of thinking of is, the early days of the subscription model, the original sort of PlayStation Plus, where it was like, we're charging you to do online multiplayer with your friends, but hey, you get a free couple games every month. Isn't that fun? And it's like, cool. That felt like, I don't know, McDonald's dollar menu stuff. And then conversely, this feels like a Las Vegas buffet where it's $90, so you got to eat your share worth the $90 of food. And yeah, on some level, maybe that's a great deal if you are in the mood to just consume that much content or food or whatever, the comparison is here. Again, I can't help but feel like in the same way that PlayStation did this weird sporadic naming convention of the Plus and Essentials and Premium, the fact that they took Ultimate, which people already had going, and they just jacked the price up. But again, to Ryan's point, Premium suddenly seems like a much better deal, but it's this weird piecemeal thing where it's like, yes, you're getting Microsoft games day one, but you're getting two things you don't necessarily want, which is old Ubisoft games and then Fortnite, which, again, there are people out there who probably want that. I think the Fortnite thing is definitely, depending whose household this is, that's probably an awesome deal for, parents who share an Xbox with a kid who plays Fortnite. That's cool. But yeah, I mean, I immediately downgraded, and it was a drag because I love the service, but this isn't in a vacuum. This is in a world where a lot of people are taking a look at subscription prices because everything is getting more expensive. Like just recently, my wife and I started kind of budgeting more consciously and like looking at what we're spending on everything. And yeah, again, it reaches that point where it's like, are we actually using these subscriptions for how much we're paying for them? Like when there's always that thing of like, dollars per hour spent enjoying something. And on some level, gaming is still very affordable when it comes to entertainment comparatively, look at the price of a movie ticket. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it does reach a sort of tipping point where you're like, is this worth the price of admission? Do I even have the time to consume this much content? The thing I'm thinking of is like, who's getting their money's worth with this? And like maybe if you're in like a month-long Groundhog Day time loop, or you're maybe bedridden and you have nothing else going on, like maybe then you're fully consuming this much, it's a surefire bargain at that point. But that's, again, a very hypothetical edge case.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They're trying to justify the price by giving us a lot more games, 75 day one games a year, a bunch of new games just added today, but they're not giving us more time to play them. Like, like me, I'm playing Ghost of Yotei right now, and I'm good. That's all I need to play right now. I don't need hundreds of games available to play.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of those like GameStop bundles where you want to buy a console, but the consoles aren't in stock, so they're like, yeah, we'll sell you the console plus 2 controllers and a case and a Guitar Hero, a DDR pad or whatever. And you're like, I don't want those other things. I guess it's a value. It's got other crap in there, but I just want the one thing. So
yeah, Ryan, this significant price hike comes right as Call of Duty is going to launch into Game Pass. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, is that it? Is the bill finally due for that whatever $69 billion acquisition?
Well, I mean, I think it is a fair question because we've talked on this show many times, and the community, both gamers and developers and publishers alike, have wondered aloud: is the Game Pass model sustainable for gamers, for publishers, for Microsoft itself, and really for developers? Can this work in the video game business? And I would suggest that this price hike maybe gives a good bit of ammo to the people that argue it's not sustainable, because the fact that what's bothersome to me, besides the gall of Microsoft to jack the price up by 50% in one go, is that, and you already touched on this, Damon, but this is the third price increase in the last 3 calendar years. We got one in 2023, we got one last year, we got one this year. So if that's going to be the pattern, so what are we going to 35 for Ultimate in 2026? Like, because guess what's coming out in Q4 of 2026? Probably, this is not me reporting anything, this is just my best guess after doing this for 23 years. This time next year, we're going to be looking at the imminent release of the heavily rumored Halo 1 Unreal Engine 5 remaster, the reboot of Fable from Playground, Gears of War E-Day, and depending where it lands in the year, I'm of the opinion it's going to come before GTA 6, but Forza Horizon 6. So you're looking at like a minimum of 3 of their absolute biggest games that are going to drop this time next year. So are they going to use that as justification to go to 35 a month next year? I mean, if they would, I think they could win a little bit of relief and appreciation from their community if they'd at least offer an annual subscription option that discounted you by a month or so. Like, just throw us a bone of some kind here. But this is it's just such a tough pill to swallow. And Max touched on that he's downgrading this new middle tier. The premium, right? That's the middle tier is what they're calling that now.
I think so, yeah.
And that one, again, probably not as applicable to a lot of viewers of this, a 5-year-old console hardware show on IGN. But I tell you, the 3 of us, we're all dads. And I think a lot of dads who maybe don't mind missing out on the water cooler talk of a new release, but still want to play everything, that middle tier, that premium tier for $15 a month, where you'll still get everything that Microsoft publishes, just not on day one. It'll be within the first year. Now, whether it's 364 days later for everything, or some of it's 3 months later, 6 months later, whether it varies, who knows? But that seems like maybe the better deal for a lot of gamer dads and gamer moms out there, where they're not necessarily, their lives don't revolve around gaming maybe as much as they used to, but they still love playing a lot of games. So that's kind of the one little bit of silver lining here. Obviously, we're all in this for a living, and so Game Pass Ultimate's pretty, certainly for me as the Xbox guy here at IGN, is pretty much required subscription. But yeah, the middle tier, and the middle tier, by the way, premium does offer the PC access now. It does give you the PC capability, so that got a little more value added to it. But I don't know how Microsoft expects the community to react in anything but
just think of how long it's been since Xbox could go any length of time without, as you always say, stepping on a rake. Like, it's always right around the corner. The next rake is always right around the corner.
Yeah, they are Sideshow Bob.
The idea of first party day one stuff is just it's like it's like a promise some uncle makes while drunk, where it's like, I'm gonna get you that thing you want for Christmas. It's gonna be great. And it's like, ooh, you have to deliver on that now.
Yeah.
You said you're gonna do that, and it's really hard to back up from that. But like, just imagine how appealing the premium tier would look had the day one releases thing not been attached to Ultimate. If the whole business model was more akin to what Sony does, not to say that Sony's doing everything right, because I would not say that, but the idea that like, yeah, you're gonna get first party stuff once people are done buying it. You know, if you don't want to have a thing day one, you know, the day one thing as a subscription model just seems completely bonkers. It's like if you combined Netflix and AMC A-List into one thing, where it's like, yeah, you can see all the movies you want in theaters or at home, just download it right away. But it's like, gaming's not a one-to-one thing there. Yeah. But the idea that it's like, I mean, I remember they were giving away, Game Pass subscriptions in like boxes of Cheez-Its at one point, where it's like, you want to check it out? Here you go, 10 days free, just eat some snacks. And the idea that like, yeah, you can play Call of Duty and Forza and Gears of War with something that's that accessible, too good to be true. Like, there's no situation where them trying to backpedal from that looks good to the consumer. And it's, for a minute there we had a great deal, and now they kind of have to, I don't know, I guess they're trying to meet that bottom line, and it's
And at the end of it, I mean, I know this generation's really not even close to over. We've still got a good like minimum of 2 years, probably 3 more to go here. Yeah. But we're sitting today after what Microsoft has done over the course of this generation. I just can't help but think that this Xbox generation is going to be remembered for Microsoft's greed. Like greed is going to be the thing that I think of with the Xbox Series generation. Like, yeah, we finally got a pretty steady flow of great first party games, but the monkey paw curled and there was a price to pay for that.
Yeah.
And it was stupidly expensive consoles, extremely expensive Game Pass Ultimate, a handheld option for the 1%. I mean, it has been a greedy generation. And again, I know there are macroeconomic things involved in that, but if at the end of the day, we're talking about I looked this up yesterday when I was writing my opinion piece, a market cap company, Microsoft has a market cap of 3.85 trillion with a T, trillion with a T dollars. And it just seems like, I mean, honestly, guys, you almost have to be a masochist to enjoy Xbox now. It's just like, hey, do you like pain? Cool. Well, Microsoft's serving that up on a near weekly basis. It feels like I don't know if this works for Microsoft in the long run. Obviously, they think it does, but their future is not as a significant hardware manufacturer, not with their prices on hardware going the way they're going. Whether they end up being like a more evolved version of Sega on the software side, where they're a pretty dominant games publisher on all platforms, maybe that's where this is going. I mean, that's certainly where they want it to go, but yeah, it's all just like, it's just depressing. It's like, we have enough. This is supposed to be a fun hobby, and Microsoft's really just taken the fun out of it lately in terms of what they're asking of their own consumers.
Yeah.
I think it's still fun. I think it's a fun stuff to do.
It is. The games are great.
You do raise an interesting point, because there's this sort of, they're playing kind of two sides of the field here, where there's $1,000 handheld, which is for a very select group of people, and at the same time their marketing is everything is an Xbox. You can play it on a MetaQuest or your smart fridge or your phone or whatever. Play it wherever you can. And I don't know if the infrastructure is there for that yet, where the streaming thing clicks. But I also wonder if there is a future where Xbox is not a physical box anymore. And
well, that's been talked about for a couple generations now. Yeah, I think, Max, and ultimately they're probably all heading that way, or at least Sony and Microsoft. Nintendo's going to Nintendo, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how near that future is, but I guess I should, in fairness, I should mention that was one of the extra upgrades that Microsoft is making to Game Pass Ultimate, is that cloud gaming, you can stream it now in 1440p, which is higher resolution than either of the other tiers. for whatever that's worth.
Well, I think at the end of the day, all I can say is it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him. Viewers, listeners, we want to know, we're talking about how they're adding more and more games to Game Pass, but we don't have more time in the day to play all these games. So how many games do you play a month on Game Pass? Is it a couple? Is it a handful? Is it a lot? You just jump around from game to game? Or maybe it's nothing. Maybe you don't even subscribe to the service. Make sure to vote at IGN.com the day this episode goes live, and we'll share the results with you next episode, just like we can last episode's poll. Talking about all the new announcements last week out of the PlayStation State of Play, the Xbox TGS show, the Kojima production stream, and what newly revealed game are you most excited for? Unsurprisingly, Wolverine won by a landslide there. But that would be followed by, distantly, by Forza Horizon 6, which I'm excited for, to race around Japan, then OD, and then Saros. If you're looking for something to play right now that helps support a great cause, head over to Humble. Live now through October 7th. Grab 8 incredible games for just $14.99, including WWE 2K25, Destiny 2 Legacy Collection, The Plucky Squire, and Return to Monkey Island. Every purchase supports Team Rubicon, a veteran-led humanitarian organization that unites military veterans, first responders, and civilians to deliver aid where it's needed most. By joining in, you're not just building your library, you're helping communities recover and rebuild. And don't miss this bonus deal. Use the coupon code SEP2510, SEP2510, to get 1 month of choice for only $10. And that's our show. Thank you to Max and Ryan for joining me today. Thank you to everyone working behind the scenes to make this episode possible. My name is Damon. We'll be back next week with more on the latest in gaming hardware. We'll see you then. This episode of Next Gen Console Watch was produced by myself, Damon Hatfield, and Jobert Atienza. Technical direction is by Jobert Atienza, with technical production by Marian Franzen and Amir Rakib. Audio engineering is handled by Amir Rakib. Post-production editing is by Jobert Atienza, and graphic design is by Justin Vachon. Next Gen Console Watch is an IGN production and part of the Geek Media Network.